All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. This is a multimedia platform to bring hazmat response information and training tips from hazmat members from around the globe. I'm Bobby Salvesen, and I'll be acting as host for the show tonight. And I'm here with Phil Ambrose and Bob Kosh. What's going on?
Well, two of us are working, and apparently one of us is having just a dandy old time.
This is terrible. I am in Turks and Caicos at the beautiful and illustrious Beaches Resort, and it is. I'm going to convert this for our metric people. It is about 120 Celsius here right now, but I got my ice towel. It's beautiful. So cooling. So nice.
Now you're there to give us a blow-by-blow of the tropical storm that's coming your way in the next couple of days, right? You're going to be the weather guy for. Well, that's a new segment we're starting. Hazmat Guys Nation weather.
I will. I'll be photoshopping myself into ridiculous photos, hanging off of palm trees and whatnot. It'll be great. It'll be a very big. It'll be awesome. Well, you know what? We got to get going right into this thing, but we do have a couple things to sweep up from last week. And Bob, you got a couple of feedbacks from last week's episode, and if you haven't seen that, go back and check out episode 33, which you can find on YouTube, or even the podcast version was just released this last Monday. What do you got, Bob?
I got a loud noise. Stand by.
Holy cow! The world just came to an end.
There's got to be a storm coming in.
There's got to be a storm. It's Florida. There could be like a.
It sounded like an air raid siren.
Like a black fly raid or something.
Yeah, that was.
He's back. Deal. I mean, I think that. What was that? Chow's on.
Jesus Christ! Dive.
Dive.
Yeah, are you on a submarine?
Jeez, it sounds like when that freaking thing goes off. The engine got a hit. So anyway. Yeah, real quickly, before I have to go anywhere, I got a message from Ryan Henry. He was talking about some stuff we had mentioned last week, a little bit of hot work. We talked about Texas City and stuff like that. So I'm just going to read this real quick. Excuse me while I do, but basically he talked about working in a facility that has hot work on petroleum lines daily. So they get a lot of stuff there. Apparently they have lots of calls. The atmospheric reading inside and outside of the line. If the line is a de-inventoried as well as precautionary measures depending on the metal type. For example, all chrome alloys require extra PPE due to regular chromium. If a line is known to have LEL, that's when it gets really fun. We'll have to look into that and find out what kind of fun he's talking about. Special fittings to install, and so basically what he's talking about is the different types of hot work that they do requiring different types of PPE, because we were talking about what type of PPE some people might be wearing when they're doing that type of work, and we mentioned pretty much just stuff for flammables if there was a flash fire and stuff like that. Most of the lines that they work with, they even weld, and I didn't know this, they weld on live gas lines. And diesel lines, which I thought was kind of interesting, but he says what they do beforehand is they x-ray the piping to make sure there's no weak or thinning of the pipe where they're going to do their welding at, so that they don't have the big boom. So that's something I didn't know. Yeah. So that's the long and short of it, but thanks, Ryan, if you're listening, for sending me that little tidbit. I know I cut it kind of short, but good stuff.
That's wild stuff, because that's industrial hazmat, I guess we'd call it. And Ryan's good guy. Down in Louisiana, we got to see some pictures of some of the gnarly stuff that happened down there. And that's the other thing. Anybody listening from that neck of the woods, man, looked like everybody was underwater. And when you have fish floating up on your app floor, that's not anything we'd have here in California.
Yeah. Anything you guys have float up would be fish, sushi.
Yeah, they drive that. They deliver it to all the fire stations.
I gotta go. Be back.
The screen be on? That's actually pretty good. All right, you still there, Bobby? And Bobby's internet connection. Do I have the only best connection here? And it's just me. We'll wait for you. We're actually not going to wait. If all 0 people that are watching right now, we're going to go and get right into it until Bobby comes back. He's on vacation, so we all feel real sorry for him. And they were going to do some follow-up from last week's show, but I'm going to go right into the news. And we'll all stare at Bob's empty seat and listen to me talk. So let's check here. And thanks, Ryan, for that scoop. And Bob, if you're listening in Massachusetts, we still are working on putting together a very good call that they had, and we'll do that for a future show. That was with some reactive hazmat. Okay, first item of today. If you saw it on Hazmat Nation, 6 Phoenix firefighters injured during fire and hazmat situation. The Phoenix Fire Department says the fire broke out at a pool supply business in East Phoenix. And if anybody here is familiar with Jeff Zintek, that we've had on the show and we refer to quite a bit because he is something else. And when it comes to hazmat, that Phoenix Valley area, there's Phoenix, there's Chandler, there's Apache Junction, there's Goodyear, there's Mesa. I think I already said Chandler. There's, I want to say, over 20 teams within all the cities there, and they all work together really, really well when it comes to hazmat. And Jay-Z, who wrote the Fog Guide, he's one of the special ops captains there. So the fire had broken out. The pool supply business, 6 firefighters ended up getting treated. 5 were taken to the nearby hospital with respiratory issues, and another with a knee injury. So all the firefighters are in stable condition, and we did find out that they are all actually doing well. They say the fire was under control, but there was an ongoing hazmat situation. So we found out from Jay-Z, because anybody in the hazmat world that watches this stuff, the firefighters that were affected were not necessarily hazmat personnel. This came in as a fire, of course, pool supply. It was the first-in guys had discomfort in their chest and coughing. They were not aware it was a pool store initially, is what we heard from kind of roundabout reports, which does happen when it's 3 in the morning and you've got to loom up. It doesn't always jump out at you that way. The product involved was some pool shock. They were released that night, which sounds like they're doing well. There's Bobby back. But that was a classic example of where fire meets hazmat, meaning any of these commercial fires, in fact, any fire you go on has some sort of hazmat. But Bobby, we're just reading the news, and the Phoenix incident, we did find out that all those, everybody that went to the hospital was released that night, and all is good. But it was topic number 1.
Yeah, I was reading up on this one, and like, if you don't even know that it's a sells chlorine or a pool store, that is some dangerous stuff. Like a warehouse that is unmarked, that is, how do you know? I mean, besides your pre-plan, going around your district and kind of figuring out what's in your area, how do you know? Officer, if I was going up to these things and I don't have my single glass chlorine on me, I wouldn't know. There's no way to know that you're going into chlorine.
No, not at all. You end up on the seaside. You're going. I mean, I'm picturing in my mind pool pool vendors in my district, even on my way home, and very few are just a standalone building. They're usually connected to other things. Heck, it could be a yoga studio and then a pool chemical warehouse. So firefighting turnouts, SCBA. Luckily, they were all released, but it's yet another thing you wouldn't know. I'm glad you brought up pre-plan because, man, it's one of those things. You just go on any call, or you're even going out and picking up chow. You see something, take a look around, take an extra look, and it's the real unusual stuff you're not going to expect that's going to end up getting you in the papers. And this one, hey, I'm sure yeah, I'm sure they. Chances are they did everything right, and still something like that happened. So glad they're okay.
Yeah, even like places during pre-plan, specifically during pre-plan, you get these places that are under construction or that are, that are the new lightweight truss, and they're coming out with those circles, right, with the class 1 through 5, with the floor, roof markings that are supposed to be on the front door, and it's an elective thing right now. You guys have them in California, I'm sure. It's a national
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have those? You know, even so, like, we had a large discussion in my vicinity, and it wasn't just with the New York City Fire Department. It was with some of the volunteer fire departments I also instruct, and they were saying, well, what happens if it's fenced up? And to which I'm not saying we're going to be doing some breaking and entering, but we're the fire department. We can do whatever the hell you want. You open the lock, you go inside, you look around, and as long as you're not spray painting your name on the wall, I don't think anybody's really going to have a problem unless you're ruining the area, because you're going to be doing more good than bad. Once they put the sheetrock up and we have chlorine or something else stored in this building and it starts permeating the structure itself, and minimally destructive to the structural integrity of a building like chlorine. I'm saying something that may be a lot worse, like that plating place that we discussed a week or two ago. Who the hell? Bob Kosh had the plating place. I
Yeah.
have one in my first do area that is I wouldn't go up on the roof without a towel ladder. I mean, the roof is basically paper mache because it is so rotted out because of what they're doing, and it was basically the same thing as what Bob Kosh was talking about. They have a plating business inside this place. If you didn't go inside, you would think it was just another paper storage location or something like that. So pre-plan is key on these things. I mean, this seems like it's something like a pool warehouse that if you have a fire, you're going to know until it's too late.
Yeah, and it popped up in the news. Something else we had put up, I believe, on Hazmat Nation too, was pool chemical calls are a pretty routine thing. Any Hazmat team or any first in has dealt with that or known about it. But vehicle accidents with some of this stuff. So you're going up on a box trucks always make me real nervous. Box trucks that are on fire, they got a great loom up, they're blocking traffic on the freeway, but you never know what they're hauling in the thing that's going to add to it. Usually you can predict what the car's going to do, but same thing with these. And I think the wouldn't have necessarily prevented anything in this happening, but pre-plan. And if you're the low man or woman on the crew and you see something, say, hey, let's go check that out. If you're the veteran, hey, do yourself a favor, and if you think you know it, go start walking around. Spend 5 minutes, take a look at it. It's the payoff in the end.
Yeah, all that seniority versus junior spots, they all make differences to the overall safety of the whole crew. You have to all take responsibility for it at some point, including the officer up front. You also has to be ready to just say, all right, everybody gear up, and we're going in to do something. It's everybody's responsibility. I can't say it, especially from being a professional firefighter like I am to a volunteer firefighter. I gotta say, at least where I work, we're pretty up on it. I'm sure most departments are. That complacency is deadly.
Oh my gosh! And I'll be looking forward to FDIC going to some of the speakers there, and there's some great stuff on. John Dixon does a great talk on just that,
Yeah.
And it's awesome, but it's embarrassing to our profession that we need guys like him to do these outstanding talks to get us motivated to do that, because you'd think the job itself would just keep us engaged, knowing that it could kill us, but I guess we all still need a reminder, and get out there. And my favorite thing to do is, hey, on a call, if you clear a call, if you're like my rig and we're on a, we cross over from Hazmat to just an engine company, you clear a call and you got some time, take the extra time and take a look at the building. I was going to jump to story 3 because it was still on the same thread, if you want to, Bobby, the pool acid.
I'm in. Let's do it.
All right. The other one, it came in. This is and Jason Rogers, who couldn't be on tonight. He had a real busy day, but he's here in spirit. Pool acid leaking through package leads to evacuation at post office. This came out of Bozeman, Montana, beautiful part of the country. Hazmat crew confirmed that the chemicals are liquids leaking were pool chemicals. The package from Big Sky was delivered to the post office around 4:30 p.m. In August 19th. The driver noticed that while in transit, liquid had been leaking from a package and was actually eating away at the delivery truck. Workers in the loading dock of the post office were asked to evacuate. 3 fire trucks were on scene, including the fire chief and the Sourdough Fire Department. Makes me hungry for some carbs there, Bobby. So what do you think happened here?
I'm going to guess it's all right. So it's a liquid leaking from a package. So somebody was transporting, whether marked or unmarked, liquid chlorine, guessing. Because, I mean, I'm not going to say anybody's dumb, but I'm also not going to say anybody's smart. There are people that transport some pretty nasty stuff through, UPS, FedEx, HDL, whatever it might be, and this seemed to have come through a cardboard bomb. There was some type of, if you know Ace Ventura, when he's kicking the box down the street. I always think about that every time I see UPS and stuff like that. So I mean, how do we know how these guys are treating these things? These things are going on planes, off planes, on trucks. They could have put the forklift right through the box, and now all you need is this stuff dripping out of there, and it smells strong. I mean, like the shock that I put in my pool is noticeable. So what do you do?
Well, and when you go out and hang out by your pool, you're probably in flip-flops and shorts, and you've got these chemicals that we'd normally be in level C and level B to handle, but what it is, it's low concentrations. But this whole this poor mail carrier and even the dock workers, they're slinging the cardboard boxes. They're not necessarily expecting that. So you had even mild pool chemicals leaking and something like that. What do you think they were seeing in this reaction?
They're seeing a concentrated liquid that's meant for a 10,000-gallon dilution. So they're going to see a lot more in that couple of ounces that falls out of that box, rather than me sitting by my pool with my drink. They're going to be really catching the face full on this thing. So I can see them taking backing up out of this thing and calling the fire department. As far as the fire department, if you're getting reports, and that's probably the most important thing of this whole story, is you're going to be coming into this scene, talking to the people that have run out and saying, what did you see, what did you feel, what did you hear? And they're going to say, I couldn't breathe because, okay, stop right there. I'm putting my SCBA on. And I'm going to go in and recon it. I'm going to have my wet and my dry pH paper on, and I'm going to walk in there, and once I see a trigger or something trigger something either on the pHs, I stop, I back up, and I re-investigate what I'm going to do. I might have to upgrade to a B or a C or an A to continue my recon. That's it.
Now, in everything you just said, if you were not hazmat, or whether you're with your volley department, you don't have any of that stuff. You don't have wet and dry pH paper. You still have bunker gear and a breather, right? And we're looking at was there anybody affected? I mean, the worst case scenario is you've got somebody down near it, and we don't know if that person was down due to the chemical exposure, or they tripped and fell, or they had a heart attack. And then once you've cleared the big R and rescue, it becomes pretty routine. Now, we had a spill. It wasn't pool chemicals, but we had a spill at a post office not too long ago, and really, as on scene, one of my biggest concerns was keeping them operational. There was no rescue thing. We had the spill. We were ready, and I'm looking. This is a big post office, and everybody likes to get their mail on time, so we were able to deal with the situation and keep them operational. But I don't get to that until we've already cleared. Hey, this is all good. So anybody listening that's not hazmat and they're just going in, clear it and until proven otherwise. Now, pool chemicals falling off the back of a pickup truck in the summertime, it's pretty routine, but you still at least gotta take a look at it from the perspective of, the what if. Could it be something else? But darn sure if there's somebody affected or somebody down, we have what it takes to go in.
Like in this specific scenario, you have a limited quantity coming out of a specific box. It's not like we have a huge quantity that is potentially going to go on for days, if not weeks or hours or whatever. So we have, and let's break this back to a very basic thought process. If it's in a box, what's the biggest deal if I go in there, limiting time exposure and distance, grab it with my gloves, and walk outside, turning an interior issue into an exterior issue? Much more gooder, right?
Well, you brought in some radiation principles to a pool chemical call. I don't know about that.
Well, even so, let's say I can't even go in there. There's basically two ways to stop this whole incident, right? You can either shut off the leak, which I'm going to bet you is probably 99% done in the first place, or we can change the atmosphere to be good for us, right? So I can open up the windows, I can put some positive pressure and ventilation there, I can move the box from inside to outside, and completely make this thing from a hazmat incident into something that's pedestrian.
Absolutely. And then with that same, where you're going with it, we've removed, there's no rescue, there's no people affected anymore. Garbage truck going down the road, and we've covered this before, and they catch on fire. What are they told to do? They go to a safe place and they dump the load. Right. Why? Because it's garbage. It's garbage burning with garbage. In this case, you flip from the rescue side of things, just like I was talking about keeping the loading dock open. Now you've got one box that the longer it sits there, it's going to affect the other boxes. And if one of those boxes has Cuban cigars getting sent to Bob Kosh, the last thing he wants is those, unacceptable. So if you can then remove that box and place it out away, and then, obviously it's not explosive, all those great things, you can handle it. But if you are going to pick something up and move it, have a good idea where you're going to put it. You don't want to end up taking that box and dropping it into another area that you're going to affect. But I'm thinking that's probably what they did.
And even so, and I'm not really that good in this whole idea, but evidence prevention, collection, somebody sent something that wasn't supposed to be sent. Because I think when I put something on the scale at the post office, it says, "Do you have any hazardous materials in this thing?" And you got to say no. Somebody sent something.
It makes me wonder so much, because when you talk to like the drug enforcement people, they say the biggest drug, not dealers, but transport in Alaska and those areas like that are all FedEx, UPS. That's just how stuff gets around. I mean, they try to prevent it. It still comes through. And I thought about that. Who sends pool chemicals? It could have been a favor, because maybe up in Montana it's tougher to get that stuff, or they're doing something else with it.
I don't know. It's something.
And the one thing we kind of skipped over, but we jumped to, we do this all the time, is we're going to be taking samples. You talked about checking the pH, but when it comes to the hazmat thing, we're going to determine. The box may have a good indication, but in this, I'm sure the box didn't say pool chemicals, because I'm pretty sure those aren't getting shipped through the Postal Service. That doesn't make sense.
No, they'd be shipped on some guy's truck.
But then again, and I'm not a representative of the Postal Service, but they've got all the contracts now. You see postal trucks out on Sundays, which I used to never see. And now they've got contracts with Amazon and Shopify and all those places. So it's not that they're okay to transport hazardous materials. They're transporting more and more stuff, including groceries. So continue to expect the unexpected.
Money, 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 baby.
Yes. But if they can mail money to my house, that would be good too.
They'd probably need a truck to bring it.
Wow. Kosh said he's almost back, and we're rocking. We had the third one, or how do you want to do this?
Well, why don't we talk? Start wrapping it up, and we can. I know you got some stuff to talk about with the upcoming shows. You want to go with that? You want to, Talk about yourself. What about you, Phil?
I had that opportunity. I was solo here. I figured I was really talking to myself because I was probably the only one on here. But we keep talking about it. But I'm going to bring up first some conferences coming up. And if you're in these areas, you might not be hazmat, but maybe you're looking to promote. Maybe you're looking to increase your knowledge. Maybe you just want to hang out with the guys. There's hazmat. If you're in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts conference is coming up quickly. The Pennsylvania conference is coming up quickly. Just because it says hazmat, don't think you have to be a hazmat. Just go check it out. Take some classes. Sneak in. Don't even pay.
Yeah.
Don't get caught, and don't tell them I said that. But get your learn on. Bobby and Mike are going to be up at the Massachusetts conference. We've been trying to help out the Pennsylvania guys with their conference, guys and gals. And then you've got Virginia Beach, which is coming up. That's the oldest, longest running hazmat conference. And almost hope I'm wrong, so it gets controversial. But I want to say they're in their 32nd or 33rd year for hazmat conferences in Virginia Beach, which is a outstanding location. And then Firehouse Expo, which is coming up, which isn't, say, known as hazmat specifically. It's fire and hazmat, and we'll all be teaching a class there. And if anybody watching this is wondering about that class, hey, what are we going to do? You're going to be put in the first in opportunity. First in. Every scenario is something that has happened more than once, that people got hurt on, and you're going to get to go through the thought process. You don't need to be hazmat. If you are hazmat, even better. We'll put you through the ringer too. But all those things coming up, so keep them on your radar. And if you can make it, if you can't make it or you're having trouble, let us know. Maybe we'll figure out a way to help you get there. And like I said, I'm always good at sneaking into things. So we could kick it over to the guy in suspenders.
Hey, I heard about the box of cigars too. I might have been watching on the way back. Anyway, I'm at a loss. Keep going.
All right.
We're wrapping up.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna. I want to talk about the Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's gonna be. You know what? I'm really behind these guys. I really wish we could. I think that's this week. I think that comes up this week.
I gotta look. I'm here. I'm talking it up, and
I think it's this week. I think it's August 25th. I want to say it's August 25th of 2016. Go and check these guys out. They're a great bunch of guys. You can go and check it out on the web. I don't even know what the website is, and it's probably too long for me to put out there.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's PAH. I think it's PAH Hazmat.
You can always do a search on Hazmat Nation. Good group, and Philly, Lehigh, Erie County, a couple others. They're all HazSim customers. Great group of first responders, and I love the way that whole area melds. You've got volunteer, combo, and career departments all working together and doing some great hazmat. Great dudes. And me and Mike are doing 4 different shows at Massachusetts. They signed us up. I'm doing online learning, which is an interesting one that I did also in the International Association of Fire Chiefs. But we're doing the Hazmat Mad Libs, which is really going to be a weird one. It's going to be you get to pick the crowd gets to pick the scenario, and then me and Mike break it down so we can tell you how we'd handle each one. So there is no playbook. Everything is done on our heels, and we have no prep. So it's going to be real life, and a couple people are going to have ERGs, a couple people are going to have NIOShes, so we can call on them to give us information. And it's going to be definitely a different way of doing any type of class I've ever seen, and I've been to a lot of these shows. So,
nice.
Awesome. That should be good. And then Mike's doing his oxidizer where he gets to burn the whole place down, and I don't know how he gets away with it, but he does it every year. He gets to burn the place down.
Awesome in Baltimore. That was the fire marshal walked in the room. In fact, I think the room was full of firemen at one point.
I think
it was awesome.
Yeah. So and then we're doing what the hell else we doing? And I'm doing it on fuel transfers. So we got 4 classes we're doing. But you know what? I might as well finish up myself while I'm on the microphone. You can find me at thehazmatguys.com. You can find us on the podcast We break all these things down to a very, what we call a fifth grader level, and you're going to like it if you try it out. We just had a couple of episodes on PPE selection and grounding and bonding, which I thought was going to be kind of like where I am in New York. We do not do grounding and bonding, but it seems to be a very hot topic around the country. So maybe we'll have to reinvest that, that one. But
Nice.
that's it. Bob
August
Tosh.
25th through 28th is Pennsylvania.
25th. There it is. I knew it was this week. Good luck to those guys. Bob, tell us about yourself. Where do we find you?
Yeah, I'm just the guy that comes here in the beginning of the show and the end of the show. So anyway, Bob Cascignano, you can find me at hcmtlt@gmail or Twitter. If the guys didn't already mention it, Jason Rogers and I will be in Virginia Beach in just a couple of short weeks at the Virginia Beach Hazmat Conference. So stop by and say hi. We're teaching a class or two, and then we'll be with all the rest of these guys in Nashville following month in October. So it's going to be a good time.
Awesome.
Cool. Phil, what about you?
Oh, I'm putting up right now. I'm going to put all these latest conferences. If you go, what are they talking about? I'm going to put everybody's link up there, and to help them out again, we put some stuff on the Facebook all the time. But on Hazmat Nation, we'll have all the. And if you've got something else going on in your region, send it to us. We'll put it up. We're getting, in fact, we're getting lots of inquiries even through our email we've been passing along to other regions. Phil Ambrose, Hazmat Nation, and HazSim, and looking forward to seeing everybody at these conferences.
All right, well, that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook, which is Hazmat Nation and the Hazmat Guys. And be sure to catch us next week. Show live every Tuesday at 21:15 hours Eastern Standard Time on Google Hangouts. Blab.im went out of business from what I heard.
Yes, it did.
I'm glad we made the move.
I think they went out. No, they went out of business because we moved.
Because we moved, probably, yeah.
We had all the fans.
Well, you know what? Also, Google Hangouts, which is what we do this on, and nobody panic, remain calm, is going to be switching over to YouTube Live. There is nothing you have to do. Just maintain this channel, and you'll be fine. But we also produce a podcast version of this, which is audio only, and you can find it on the iTunes under the Hazmat Guys Nation, and we'll be posting it, this video, which you can find live on our YouTube channel at THMGnation@gmail.com. So please go on there and just subscribe to us, +1 us, and then you'll be notified of these things. That's it.
That's it. Be safe.
All right, guys. See ya.